Listen to my podcast about sports.
Howdy, Ags. AP here from the Tailgate. Talking some Aggie football, brought to you by Frida Homes, building Aggie dreams, fridahomes.com. Don't forget, email us at agstailgate@gmail.com. Follow us on the YouTube page. See us on Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. All right, Ags. Rough day. Rough day on Saturday. Out in Starkville, Mississippi. Really and truly just, I don't know exactly how to feel right now. Not feeling great about where this program is at the moment. Not feeling great about Jimbo. Overall, I just thought, we're playing against obviously a team that, not as talented as far as recruiting for the last 5 years. They don't have the facilities. They don't have the support. They don't have the fan base that the Aggies do. And yet, that game was never in question. It wasn't even competitive. End of the day, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because we see the talent on the field. It's frustrating because we know the players are there. It's frustrating because we've given everything to this program and to this coaching staff. It's frustrating because that they've been selling us a bill of goods out of the building right now that just isn't coming to fruition. And it's frustrating because of the fact that in spite of the struggles and the things that are going on and the underperforming, consistent underperforming, Jimbo wants to take no blame for that. He's just going to point to the players' failure to execute. And he says that the scheme is perfect. He says that they have everything going for it. And yet, we can't win ball games. So I'm not sure that there's going to be a whole lot of changes made because at the end of the day, he doesn't think that there's really anything wrong other than the fact that the players aren't executing. And we'll get back to the offense. Let's start with the defense. This defense was in a 3-man line all day long. They played 2 plays in the entire game with a 4-man line. 2. That includes goal line sets. That includes everything. Short down, short distance, whatever. 2. Look, when Durkin was hired, I said, the thing that worries me about Durkin, one, is that he coached a crappy defense at Ole Miss for the last 2 years. Just because they were good against us doesn't mean they were actually any good. And I also said he loves the 3-man line. Loves it. Everybody fought back against me and said, no, not with the defensive line talent that we have here. He's going to use the 4-man line. He's got to get those guys on the field, this and that. I said, well, go back. He's only been doing it at Ole Miss because of the fact that he has to. That's his personnel. Go back and look at his time in Florida. Go back and look at his time in Michigan. Go back and look at his time in Maryland. He uses a 3-man line all the freaking time. At all stops, no matter where the talent is. It's just the way he'd rather do it. And so now we are sitting here and we're playing a 3-2-6 on a consistent basis. 3-2-6 on a consistent basis. We've been recruiting defensive linemen. like crazy the last 3 years. Like crazy. Not just this past year where they're all freshmen. The year before. You know, we recruit more defensive linemen than offensive linemen. And yet, we only put 3 of them on the field at the time. I don't know exactly what makes anybody think that is the way to build this defense and then to implement the defense. I don't know what makes anybody think that. This, on Saturday, these guys, and look, it's not an effort thing. These guys play hard. But Rodgers was not under pressure ever. That dude could have sat down a lazy boy back there and chilled. He was comfortable as could be. Not only that, Durkin gave Mississippi State anything they wanted. Anything they wanted. They wanted to run into a 5-man box. That's what it was. 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers. All day. They could run into a 3-man box. They could do it even with a bunch set tight to the formation where basically you're looking at 3 extra guys and blockers in there. Still, doesn't matter. All day. What else do they love to do? We talked about it in the pregame show. They like to get rid of the ball quick. Quick passes, quick passes, quick passes. They can't protect. Well, they could protect. They protected pretty well on Saturday against a 3-man rush. No problem. What they couldn't do, but even then, everything they wanted to do was underneath, right? That's what we talked about before. They want to get the ball underneath. And what do? We give them room. Soft zone, off coverage. Just run a little hitch route, let him throw it out there, complete it, no problems. All day long. All day long. Interesting part is, every once in a while we start to come in and press. We start to come in and press on those corners, and we still only bring 3 pressure, but even with the press coverage, we don't really get any help. And press coverage and no pressure. Press coverage, no pressure. Okay, they must have safeties over the top for help. Nope. Still one-on-one on the outsides where they take you and go throw the fade route. What do we talk about? He loves to throw the fade route. Whenever you're coming, and it's just and he sees one-on-one route on the outside, he loves to throw the fade route over the top. From the slot, from the outside receiver, one of those guys, because it's a quick read and throw. So if you're bringing pressure, he can get rid of the ball. If you're not, then he's got all day to do it anyway. But the interesting part is we weren't bringing pressure and we still weren't covering. We still were not getting help over the top because the safeties were all playing the short, coming in and playing that little soft zone short inside, trying to take away the middle of the field. Well, what did he do? Rodgers looked up, said, "Oh, look at that. One-on-one over here. One-on-one over here. I can see it right now." He doesn't even have to think about it. Doesn't matter. Boom. No pressure. 3-man rush. All the zone underneath. Fade route over there. Go make a play. Hey, look. Our cornerbacks were there. They had receivers. We talked about it before. Big guys on the outside. Those guys made plays. They're going to from time to time. But it's a lot less likely that they make plays if you've got Rodgers under pressure, maybe some. How about that? Don't let him get comfortable back there all day. How about that? The rest of the day, he sat in there, 3-man line. He could move. He could look from one side to the next, hit the quick little unders, hit the quick hitches because soft zone. 24, the linebacker playing too wide a bunch of times, playing way too wide, getting out there. 45 not reacting to the routes very well, right? Sees one coming, doesn't react. He didn't identify and continue to cover. So they get past him, boom, hit right on the other side. 26, not good in coverage. He cost us a couple of them. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to work very well in coverage when you give the guy all freaking day to throw. Never any pressure. consistently sits back there with 4-5 seconds to let guys get open and delivers the football. The defensive scheme basically took nothing away. We got one turnover. We got one turnover. Didn't take advantage of it. Ended up going backwards and kicking a field goal. And even in situations where we held, right? They still had drives, right? Like every time they got the ball, there was a drive, moving the ball, doing things. You just sit back. Durkin's sitting back. He's just gonna let them dictate what they want to do. He allowed them to dictate. Boy, they ran the football right up the gut. Why not? Linebackers are playing soft. You got 3 men in line. Get in there and go. They used 2 back sets a bunch. They got in there and go. The other thing is we contained. Sorry. Our defensive end would come inside. Richardson wouldn't come over the top and contain, or he'd overrun it. The linebacker would overrun it, whatever it was. There was a couple of times Diggs came underneath. Then Richardson didn't stay outside. He comes over. But that's what happens when your safeties or your overlap players in your run game, and you're asking too much of those guys. Well, they didn't fit very well. Gave up some outside runs. So all those things come into play because you're creating a lot more gaps. Obviously, with a 3-man line and with that scheme, it allows you to sort of get into more trouble if your fits aren't exactly perfect. The linebackers are having to cover multiple gaps. That's not going to work. Not with our crew. Because they are stalemated by offensive linemen. Not good. No gap integrity, no gap discipline. Just overall performance by the defense was horrible. 144 yards rushing at 6 yards of carry. 144 yards rushing at 6 yards of carry. Thank goodness that he loves to throw the football, because they could have run it. They could have run it for 250. 329 yards passing. 7.3 per attempt. Just 473 total yards up and down the field all day. Just a bad performance all the way around. And from a defense that has been the part of this team that has carried us to this point, and we thought that they could match up better against a group like this. Of course, we said, hey, bring your 4-down line, maybe, and go with your secondary in there. Press a little bit, man up. They didn't do any of those things. Soft zone, and no pressure. Recipe for failure. So the defense didn't do their part. Offense didn't do their part either. Now, we're used to that, at least. So 136 yards rushing altogether. A-Chain had a pretty good day. He went 16 for 116. Moose, 6 for 119 and a touchdown receiving. Very nice day for Moose. Max, 19 of 26, 203 yards, a touchdown, 4 sacks. We're going to talk about that. King, 6 of 13. Max got hurt. Hit his thumb on a helmet, it looked like. Hurt the thumb. He was out the rest of the game. King, 6 of 13, 49 yards, 2 picks, 0 sacks, though. So, look, this offense the scheme is horrible. The scheme is just horrible. It doesn't matter if it's Max out there, if it's Haynes. Just in this game, we saw what we've been talking about all year with regards to the two, right? Max is going to be a guy that he's going to hold the football. He's going to get sacked more. He's not going to throw the picks, though, okay? But at the same time, he's not going to create big plays, and you're going to dink and dunk. And like I said, you're going to get those sacks. He's going to go backwards at times. So that's going to be Max. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. That's who he's going to continue to be. He stares down his receivers. Man, he sticks with it, stays with it. And then all of a sudden, he's under pressure. King, on the other hand, King's going to force some things. He's going to force some things, and he's going to throw some interceptions. But King's going to get rid of the football. King's going to get rid of the football. That means he's not going to have sacks. Unfortunately, he's not completing many of them either. But his legs, he made a couple plays with his legs that were pretty big. Big. Not really big because the game was pretty much decided by then. But I guess my point is that you know what you're going to get from those two quarterbacks and the different styles that they're going to play. The problem is that neither one of them is getting much help from their coach and their offensive coordinator and their play caller. Look, everybody wants to talk about the offensive line today. I went back and looked at every single one of those plays. And was the offensive line problematic at times early in the game? They had some misses on some stunts, specifically on third down, where we talked about it before the game. What's Mississippi State going to do? Mississippi State's going to bring some exotic blitzes on third down. If you sit in there and you sit back and give them third and long, you're going to get some of those blitzes. If you don't do something to counteract that, they're going to continue to do so. Well, what do? On third and long, in passing situations, they brought these blitzes. And early in the game specifically, we missed on some of those guys. Look, Aggie got played later. He wasn't very good. He got in the game. Moko got hurt. And they were able to target him on some of those. And he just absolutely whiffed on some blocks. A couple of them, on one of them, we completed the pass anyway, right? But it wasn't just him. On one, it was Robinson also inside. On one, we've got problems with the center on a couple of them. Problems with the snap from Foster. And I'm not trying to get on Foster on all that stuff. I mean, look, Wyckoff has played better than Foster has so far. He just had. And yet he's sitting on the bench. Well, Moko comes in. He's been playing decent over there at the left guard spot. But now he gets hurt. Aki's in there. So Aggie has been terrible. Terrible. Love the kid, big, athletic, all those things, but the guy does not recognize twists, and he doesn't work well with the people next to him, right? They don't combo block very well. He's way too fast up to the second level in some of the run scheme stuff. The fact of the matter is he struggled. He has struggled. Why not move Foster over to guard, let Wyckoff come back at center? He's played better. The tackles played pretty good. There was a couple of times that they got kind of a bull rush on them, but didn't really give up a ton of pressure. Fothery had the false start at one point, but that wasn't it looked like Foster didn't snap the ball because one of the other guys also jumped. So, overall, the offensive line wasn't terrible in pass protection. It wasn't terrible. Once again, we talked about, how about some boot action? Booting him out behind the offensive line every once in a while, getting him out in space, letting him get. Well, they did it a couple of times. They didn't even do it very many. And he completed some passes. How about some actual play action? Well, there was a couple, but not real. It's like these half-ass play action passes. They don't really get in there, try to force it hard, and then come out of it, right? So, not quite the same. They tried to screen once, looked like it was wide open. Foster runs right by the block. So, none of those things really work very well. A couple of things. Just a couple of things. Especially early on. The running game is rolling. Rolling early on. And I know we had the fumble by A-Chain, and look, That's going to happen, right? I don't think he's had any this year, so it's his first inopportune time. And it hurts. We had the dropped interception by Antonio Johnson. That one hurts. However, at the same time, we are running the football. We're doing a pretty good job. We do well when we run the power, but we don't run the power anymore. Like, they just stopped running the power. All zone this way, all zone that way. And a lot of times we were successful with the zone as well, but then, you get a little bit of penetration, and sometimes that hurts you. On a couple of occasions, that penetration was coming from the edges where it wasn't an offensive line problem. It was the fact that they were leaving that guy free, and he was coming downhill. But that's a blocking scheme problem. That's a blocking scheme problem, not an offensive line problem. So, the running game's going. HN gets 1 carry in the fourth quarter. He gets 7 in the third, I think. Right? But he's moving the ball. In the first half, he was very productive at 10 yards a pop. But yet he only got 7 carries. We get 3 on first down, pass, punt. 3 on first down, pass, punt. Well, if you get 3 on first down, you run it again, run power, get 5, all of a sudden it's 3rd and 3. Now you've got a very makeable 3rd down situation instead of coming back 2nd and 7, 3rd and 7, incomplete, punt. Against pressure. Hand the ball to the guy that's been getting you there. And I know he fumbled. Doesn't matter. Get back in the ball. Get it to some of your other backs. Le'Veon Moss got his first carry, first appearance by Le'Veon Moss. Nice. Look, the guy that came through, Moose, right? Moose. What did we say it was? He was 6 for 119 and a touchdown. The dude is a playmaker. Where's he been all year? How come he hasn't been on the field prior to last week? Why is he buried in the depth chart? He's a clear playmaker. Preston. Guy can't get on the field. We got Chase Lane out there. Chase Lane, how many plays did he make the other day? Not anything against Chase. But he's not as good a player as Preston. Yeah, Preston's on the bench. Here's the other thing. Look. Everyone wants to talk about, well, the problem is that this team is young. This team is young. That's a garbage excuse. It's the same thing someone said every year because he started every freshman every year. The reason he does that is because apparently they didn't develop the other players. They didn't develop the players on campus. If all you're doing is replacing upperclassmen with lowerclassmen, that means you're not developing the players. And that's the coaching, by the way. Because think about this. Start with the defense. Richardson, right? Antonio. Both of those guys are third year, at least third year or more. Jalen Jones, George, Miles Jones, all secondary guys, third year or more. Gilbert is really the only first-year starter in that secondary. Chappelle started all last year and has been one of our best players, by the way. All 3 of the linebackers you play in Cooper, Lee, Russell, all 3 of those guys are third year or more. Defensive line-wise, Fidel Diggs, third year. Rakes, third year. McKinley Jackson, third year. Adarius Jones, third year or more. There's guys out there. Shamar Turner has played a good number of snaps. So there's guys on the field that are young, yeah, but there's options to put on the field otherwise. If you want to be older, play some of the older guys. They're there. They're in the locker room. It's not like they don't exist. And they're guys that can play. It's guys that can play. So this idea that it's young, this defense is not young. It's young up front because they use a lot of the freshmen up front in Overton, in Shamar Stewart, in Lucas, obviously Nolan, but Nolan's been pretty good. Nolan's been pretty damn good. So those guys are getting reps. But here's the thing. That's a choice by the coaching staff. They got options. Options that have been around a little longer. Right? Where is Marcus Burks? A 5-star recruit, defensive tackle. Where's his reps at? He's a second-year guy at least. He's been in the program. Where's his reps at? So defensively, you can talk about, they're useful and everything else, and they play all these freshmen and whatever. That's sure. Bryce Anderson has made plays. Harris got a bunch of plays out there at the cornerback position the other day. Sure, but this defense is not young. It's not young other than the fact that they choose to play young. Now, if you're going to play these young guys, wouldn't you simplify things and let them go? Because their strength is that they're athletic and have some extreme levels of talent. Wouldn't you just let them go? Maybe. I would. Simplify. That way they're right. They can just play. Offensively, young. Yeah, well, we're young because we're starting two freshman wide receivers. But we just talked about it. Moose, why hadn't he been on the field? Where's Keith Brown, who couldn't get on the field the other day? Right? Where's Preston, who hadn't been on the field? So, Price is another guy that's been around. All those guys are 3 years or more. Chase Lane, plenty of wide receiver options. Max Wright's a tight end that's been in the program for 5 years. Right? All your quarterbacks that have played have been are 3 years or more. Right? Both King and Max, at least third-year guys. That's not young. That's not young. Offensive line-wise. 64's been in the program for a long time. Your Foster and Father started all last year. They're not young. They're experienced. Those guys have got over a year's worth of starting experience. Zune's been pretty good. That's a young guy. Aggie's been in the program for 3 years. All these guys have been around. So the excuse that they're young is garbage. A-Chain's a third-year guy at every position. Not to mention, look, Georgia and Alabama do it every year with young guys. Simplify, give them an opportunity to be successful. That's it. Let them run. Let them go make plays. I hate that excuse. You have recruited this football team for the last 5 years. If they're young, it's on you, Jim. It's on you, Jimmy. Well, Jimmy Fisher's got a lot to answer for. That's what upsets me. It upsets me that they show pressure. They're bringing 6, and they do. They show it and they bring it. No inside routes. No hot, no nothing. Everything is still the same crap. No change to anything. Where's your hot route? Quick little slant, get rid of the ball. They bring 6, we only have 5 to block them. Oh, the offensive line sucks. No, they blocked 5. 1 came free. Why did 1 come free? Well, because they only had 5 to block 6. He didn't throw the swing route to A-Chain, and there was no quick routes over the middle. Where's your hot? Well, didn't get it out. So, what's the problem? The offensive line? Is the play call? Why isn't there an adjustment? They showed all their blitzes. They showed them all. They walked them up. Linebackers walked up. Wasn't a surprise that they were coming. If you scattered them, you knew. Third down, they're going to bring some things. Be exotic. Where's the things that offset that pressure? The quick routes, the quick inside hitters. You know, throw the fade route. Get rid of the freaking football quick. You know, things that you can do quick. Nope, no adjustment on that by Jimmy Fisher. He doesn't get to be Jimbo anymore. He's not big bad Jimbo. He's Jimmy. He's little old Jimmy. Jimmy hasn't had a top 10 offense since they won a national championship at Florida State. About 10 years. About 10 years. And had a top 35 offense. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. That's crap. Let me know, why is it that we can run play action without any routes in the middle of the field? How does that happen? How does that even come close to happening? Look, right now, I'm sorry, Ags. This is what we deal with. This is what we've got. You know, the plays are not, the routes don't combine with the protection doesn't combine with the action doesn't combine with, you know, the quarterback. All of it's messed up. And until something happens, a change in the coaching staff, because Jimbo's not changing the scheme. So changing the coaching staff happens, that's what we're going to have to live with. Offensive player of the game, I think it's Moose. You could give it to A-Chain. Give it to A-Chain. I think it's Moose. That's my guy. In a game in which obviously he had to come up big. So, pretty good. Defensive player of the game, Chappelle maybe? I don't know. No one. Absolutely no one. Around the country, man. Around the country. Georgia struggled. Georgia struggled with Mizzou through the first three quarters. Came out in the fourth quarter and took the lead, won the game. But had some struggles. Dropped to number 2 because of it. Bama absolutely whooped Arkansas. I thought that game was going to be a lot better. Arkansas at one point got back into it. And then they just responded. Alabama just responded and took care of business. Young gets hurt. We'll see what happens there at the quarterback position. Obviously, we play them this coming week. I don't expect, I don't know, maybe Young's back by then, but if not, Milroe played pretty well. You know, 2 rushing touchdowns and another touchdown thrown. I mean, the guy was a weapon on the ground for sure. UCLA gets to 5-0 with a win over Washington. Ohio State rolls. Clemson gets to 5-0. Big win over NC State. They've got a pretty clear path from here on out. Michigan wins pretty handily in spite of the fact that the score not being too terribly one-sided. USC gets to 5-0. Pretty simple, pretty easy win out west. Ole Miss beats Kentucky. Kentucky with an opportunity to take the lead late in the game. They're in field goal range, I believe, to tie. And Will Levis fumbles the football. Fumbles the football, turns it over, ball game. So good game, but couldn't come through. Okie State beats Baylor. Stay undefeated. Take the lead in the Big 12. Tied with TCU and Kansas, who both win and are both undefeated into a matchup next week. Game day, ESPN Game Day, going to be out there in Kansas, I believe. That's more than likely a first, I would imagine. Pretty impressive. That's a coach that's doing a good job, Leopold, formerly at Buffalo. But that guy's obviously changed the culture over there. They've got a quarterback that's playing lights out. They beat Iowa State. TCU beats Oklahoma. Oklahoma, poor guys. Sorry about that, David. Questions from the tailgate brought to you by Carney's Pub and Grill. Good times, good drinks, good people. All right, you keep offensive scheme is bad. Keep saying offensive scheme is bad. What do you mean? What do I mean? Look, I'm a former offensive coordinator, offensive line coach. That's where I spent my time. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, when you've got a system that has so many different plays and so many different protections and so many different, you know, different types of, you know, run schemes and everything else, and all these guys are young, in college, and all that, and you're trying to get all those different types of things going at the same time, have those quarterbacks read 17 different things, have the receivers adjust to different players on this route and that route, and whatever. Like, they're thinking too much. Period. The blocking schemes are clearly thinking too much because they can't pick up a stunt, a twist, a slightly different blitz that they haven't seen before. I mean, and so technique-wise, offensive line-wise, they're not doing a great job. But here's the thing: that offensive line's gotten better. End of the day, it doesn't help you when your scheme you run into a 7-man front with 5 offensive linemen, no tight ends in the back. Doesn't help you. Doesn't help you when they bring 6 and you only keep 5 in to protect. Doesn't help you. Doesn't help when your scheme has an RPO with the fake over here to the left for a throw on an out to the right. Quarterback can't get there. Can't get his feet right. Doesn't help you when you play action, but all your routes are on the outside. I mean, you can do that if you go boot. The scheme is poor. So, last week we run our first tailback screen in who knows how long. First tailback screen, who knows how long. We're doing it on 2nd down and 5, which is not a typical blitzing down. So you're doing it into coverage. Well, doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that well. This week they just missed the block. Understood? That's on the offensive line. That's on 61, Foster. They'll run the bubble into coverage that is pressed up, or with 2 wide receivers on 3 defenders. Why would you do that? That's for situations where you got the advantage. Quick, get it out there, let your guy make a play. No double moves. No trickery. Here's the best one. Go look at the 3rd downs this past week. And you're going to see it. Everyone is 3rd, 7, whatever. Every one of those routes is right at the sticks or short. What's the defense doing? They're staying up, getting in there, and attacking first move. Why? Because they can. Because there's nothing threatening them down the field. Every route at the sticks or short. They have a 4th down that they go for. They run the motion with 10 coming behind, kind of on the reverse look. Well, he's out of the pass. He's out of it, right? He's not going to be a threat to get the football. He's going to sit out here in the flats behind the line of scrimmage. They had 2 backs. That means they left 2 wide receivers. So basically now it's 4th and 7, and you got a 2-man route against a defense that's not bringing pressure, so that's playing coverage. All right. That's a great play design. And what'd you get out of that motion in behind you? What'd you get out of that motion? Nothing. Nobody bought that you were going to give him the ball, right? It's 4th and 7. Nobody's even worried about that. Bad scheme. There was 1 3rd down and 6. Every one of those routes was short of the sticks. Every one of the routes. They completed the pass. 4th down. No problem. Bad scheme. They do well in the run game with the gap scheme. They don't use it anymore. How about this? They run the sweep. So they you play side tackle, block the man on. You got a tight end out there, and they send him out to the corner. You got the 2nd tight end out there, and he's going up on linebacker. Okay. They let the forced player go. Those 3 guys let the forced player go. The 2 tight ends, neither one of them touches. Pull the guard, play side guard. He kicks that guy out. So now you're having to come underneath that kick out. The tailback has got to come underneath the kick out. And it's pretty tight. Backside guard pulls through. He doesn't have anywhere to go. The center pulls. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Because there's not enough gap in there. He barely gets. Backside guard doesn't have anywhere to go. You pull him, or backside tackle. You ask your backside guard to reach the no. The defensive end, which is crashing down, he's lined up head up on the tackles, crashing down. Of course, he seals that off, and you got a loss of 3 on a sweep, loss of 5. HN's got nowhere to go. Why wouldn't you just stay on that guy, the backside? I promise you, that backside tackle that you pulled did nothing. Stay on him, stay with it. Keep the center on the nose, pull the backside guard instead. Keep the center so he can seal it, boom, get across and go. How about use your 2 tight ends, you double team that 4th player, stay on it, and then come up to the linebacker so that you get a defined outside. You start pulling around up to the corner and go through that process. Nope. Bad scheme. Question number 2. What should Aggie fans hope for the rest of the year? I don't know. I'd hope for what the Aggie fans should expect is the same thing they've seen so far. Same thing they've seen so far. This week is going to be rough. Alabama at Alabama, and they've got something to prove after last year. I think this week's going to be rough. But this ain't the only one. Right now, they would lose to Ole Miss. They would lose to LSU. They'd probably lose to Florida. You know, that's a 6-loss season just right there. Just right there. So, I don't know. It's going in the wrong direction the way I see it. Can we do something to get better? Sure. But he ain't going to do it. He's not going to change what he's doing offensively. So forget about that. Forget about that. It's going to be, will the defense come up and play from game to game, give us an opportunity to win, is the only thing that we've got in our back pocket. Finally, there's got some family issues going on this week, so there may only be one. This might be our only podcast of the week. I'm not sure that you guys want me to preview this Alabama game. I think everybody sort of knows what's going to happen here. I'm going to try to get one in, but no promises. Otherwise, we'll be doing the post game for Alabama and hopefully getting back to two podcasts next week, okay? Gig 'em Aggies, AP, signing out from the tailgate.